Hey folks, Bobby Hesley back with part 2. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Again, this streaming platform that I'm using, they're still developing it. There's still some bugs and glitches that they're working on. So I do apologize for the broadcast cutting out midstream. Come on back, folks. We're going to spend about another 15 to 20 minutes. Just consider this part 2 on my expose of Joe Biden, who is an excommunicated Catholic who is not allowed to receive Holy Communion because of his stance on abortion. And he had the audacity to give us a Thanksgiving address. So I'm going to continue to get into this. I'm just going to keep playing the video through, and then I'm going to parse it afterwards. So give me a second to share my screen. Okay. Come on in back, folks. Come on back in. We're just getting started. That was just a warm-up. I appreciate your guys' patience. I appreciate your patience. And hold on a second. Let me share my screen so that we can get this audio back on. And welcome back from Louisiana. Thank you, Sheila Smith. You guys are great, man. I love you guys. Again, I'm bringing you with me. I am bringing each and every one of you with me with the Bobby Hesley Show. You're going to be able to say, I was with this guy back when he did his walk and talks, back when he was doing his streams, and his stream kept cutting out on him because the platform he was using was still kind of an up-and-coming platform. Just hang in there with me, guys. This thing is going to get better and better as we go. So let's get back to the video that I'm going to parse. I'm just going to let it play all the way through and go from there.
But of neighbors, not of limitations, but of possibilities, not of dreams deferred, but of dreams realized. I've said many times that this is a great country. We are a good people. This is the United States of America.
Vice President Biden, your reaction, and just 40% of Americans say they would definitely agree to take a coronavirus vaccine if it was approved by the government. What steps would you take to give Americans confidence in a vaccine if it were approved?
Make sure it's totally transparent. Have the scientists of the world see it, know it, look at it, go through all the processes. And by the way, this is the same fellow who told you this is going to end by Easter last time. This is the same fellow who told you that, don't worry, we're going to end this by the summer. We're about to go into a dark winter. And he has no clear plan, and there's no.
Did you catch that, guys? A dark winter.
There's going to be a vaccine available for the majority of the American people before the middle of next year.
President Trump, your reaction, he says you have no plan.
We're going to have a dark winter at all. We're opening up our country. We've learned and studied and understand the disease, which we didn't at the beginning. When I closed and banned China from coming in heavily infected, and then ultimately Europe, but China was in January. Months later, he was saying I was xenophobic.
So Mr. Optimism, Mr. Dreams realized, Mr. We need to move forward and make all this progress. Everything that he's saying, all these platitudes that he's saying, is the same guy who is pro-lockdown. This is the same guy that is fighting to keep this economy locked down by weaponizing this pandemic, by weaponizing this coronavirus. And I wanted to play that clip from YouTube from the presidential debate just to show you that he's the guy who's the nihilist. He's the guy who is saying that we're headed toward a dark winter. So why did he change all of a sudden? Now that he's vice president-elect, quote unquote, how come all of a sudden he's changed now? How come all of a sudden he's saying that we need to realize our dreams? Dreams need to be realized and not deferred. Yet he's trying to defer our dreams by keeping us locked down. He is. And I'm going to read a piece. Basically, the destructive effects that the lockdown economy has on the United States, that it's had. And here's what it says. Let me get into this. This is a piece from Newsmax. It was written by Sandy Fitzgerald. And this was great commentary by the gentleman by the name of Peter Navarro. And he said, the, quote, lockdown economy sought in states run by Democrats serves to hurt poor people, most of all during the coronavirus pandemic. White House trade advisor Pete Navarro said Friday. The states which have the highest number of people, percent of the workforce on unemployment, are all states run by Democratic governors, said Navarro on Fox Business Mornings with Maria. The top 13 states are all Democrat run. meaning the top 13 states that are locking everybody down, that are destroying lives, and that are destroying economies. What they share in common is a kind of lockdown economy. It is a regressive tax on the poor. People who are being forced out of work because lockdowns are at the lower end of the income scale, said Navarro, and it's just cruelty from Democrats to encourage lockdowns. 14 out of 15 states who have the best performance with respect to initial unemployment claims are all run by the Republican governors, said Navarro. I am concerned into winter that we will hear more and more drumbeats for lockdowns. So the fact is, guys, Joe Biden is saying that he wants to have dreams deferred and not dreams realized and not deferred. And yet, he's pro-lockdown, guys. That's the contradiction. That's what I want to point out. Now, he's also talking about how awesome America is. Let me continue playing this clip, and then I'll wrap up here. And the StreamYard thing is giving me issues. Okay. So I'm going to share audio. Okay, here we go.
This is a great country. We are a good people. This is the United States of America. And there's never been anything we've been unable to do when we've done it together. Think of what we come through as a nation, how many things we've come through: centuries of human enslavement, cataclysmic civil war, exclusion of women from the battle box, world wars, Jim Crow, the long twilight struggle against Soviet tyranny that could have ended not in the fall of the Berlin Wall, but in nuclear Armageddon. Look, I'm not naive. I know that history is just that, history. But to know what came before, what's come before, what's happened before, can help arm us against despair. Knowing that previous generations got through the same universal human challenge that we face. The tension between selfishness and generosity, between fear and hope, between division and unity. And what was it that brought the reality of America into closer alignment with the promise of reality, justice, and prosperity? Sounds corny, but it was love, plain and simple. Love of country, love of one another. We don't talk much about love in our politics.
So Joe Biden is pushing love of country, is he? Love of country, yet he's from the same Democrat Party that goes to every length that it can to tear down America. Like in this example. This is his...
We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. We have not reached greatness. We will reach greatness when every American is...
So Mario Cuomo, another fake Catholic who's not allowed to receive Holy Communion because of his stance on abortion.
Finally, Senator Biden, clear options right now. And finally, we got about 30
He
seconds
is,
left, but I can't
hold on,
let you
guys.
go without some politics. As we mentioned, you're in
That's another clip I'm going to play in a second.
South
here.
Carolina right now on the...
So the fact is, Andrew Cuomo, who's also not allowed to receive Holy Communion because of his stance on abortion, said that America was never great. There are Democrat after Democrat after Democrat that go out of their way to tear down America. This guy doesn't love America. He was part of one of the most anti-American administrations for 8 years when he teamed up with Barack Obama. For 8 years, guys. Now let's finish the rest of this out.
The political arena is too loud, too angry, too heated. To love our neighbor as ourselves is a radical act. It's what we're called to do. We must try. For only in trying, only in listening, only in seeing ourselves as bound together in what Dr. King called the mutual garment of destiny, Can we rise above divisions and truly heal? Look, we all know America's never been perfect. But we've always tried to fulfill the aspiration of the Declaration of Independence, that all people are created equal, created in the image of God. And we've always sought to form a more perfect union. What should we give thanks for this season?
Created in the image and likeness of God. You know who else is created in the image and likeness of God, Brother Biden? The unborn. That's who. These unborn babies that you've gone out of your way for your 47-year career to abort and to make sure that women have the right to tear limb from limb in the womb. They're made in the image of God too. Now, he actually had the audacity to mention slavery. He even mentioned Jim Crow. Listen to what Joe Biden said about Delaware, where he's from. He actually bragged about Delaware being a slave state. Listen to this.
The campaign trail, 30 seconds or less. What kind of a chance would a northeastern liberal like Joe Biden stand in the South if you were running in Democratic primaries against Southerners like Mark Warner and John Edwards?
Better than anybody else. And you don't know my state. My state was a slave state. My state is a border state. My state is the 8th largest black population in the country. My state is anything from a northeast liberal state.
So back in 2008, when Joe Biden was running for president during the primaries, he was bragging about the fact that his state of Delaware was a slave state. In other words, what makes you as a northeastern liberal qualified to run for president? What makes Delaware such a great state? And according to him, because it's a slave state, that's one of its selling points. Let's get into a little bit more of Joe Biden's Jim Crow racism. Here's another clip. Again, he had the audacity to bring up slavery in this
Look at what they
Thanksgiving
value
speech.
and look at their budget and what they're proposing. Romney wants to he said in the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
I will never understand how it is that these black Democrats, these black liberals, will let a guy like Joe Biden into their churches, mind you. He was in their church when he said this, that he was going to put them back in chains. I'm going to show one more clip of Joe Biden's racist history. Give me a second to pull that up, which contradicts everything he said during this. Thank you. So this was a tweet. This was a Twitter video that was captured, and we're just gonna let the video speak for itself, guys. Check this out. Let's give it time to warm up here. All right, check this out.
So when they put all those police in our neighborhood and they hit us with those harsh sentences for whether it's the 94 crime bill, the 88 crack laws, they can justify that shit based off this is where all the trouble is at. This is where all the problems is at. You seen Joe Biden stand on the Senate floor and say that verbatim. He was like, I don't care about the conditions that cause these predators to become predators. We need to fix this shit now, because if we don't, they're going to end up killing our moms and our fathers and our brothers and our sisters.
Is Joe Biden good?
Nah,
it's tough. I got questions.
I think he's a good guy with bad shit on him.
Man,
he got some bad shit on him.
I say it all the time. Joe Biden has done worse things to black people than Donald Trump ever has.
For real?
Hell yeah, man. The 88 crack laws.
Like, educate me. He passed
He
did the 88 crack laws with Strom Thurmond. Strom Thurmond was a motherfucking racial segregationist from South Carolina.
Who was he down with? Was he down?
It was
It's
Obama's
Barack's
boy.
vice
He was
president.
Obama- he was
Barack
Obama's
vice
boy,
president.
The
yeah.
88 crack laws.
Plot thickens.
Think about it. 88 crack laws. Everybody know crack was in the black community more than anywhere.
Because they put it
They
there.
dropped it off
That's what
So,
special delivery.
so 88 crack laws that gave you more time for crack than it did powder cocaine, that was systemically done because they knew who was running around with the 20s of rocks in their pockets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then you fast forward 6 years later, the 94 crime bill that he called the Biden bill.
Now what's the 94
Damn, Joe Biden's done a
crime?
good
The
job.
94 crime bill was what they were so mad about Hillary over, and Hillary wasn't even in the administration when that shit went down. You know what I'm saying? She was just the first lady. She was just Bill Clinton's old lady. But the 94 crime bill basically is what they say started mass incarceration. You know what I'm saying? It just gave out all of these harsh sentences
Yeah, I
to
know.
black people.
What year was that?
94.
94.
Did you catch that, folks? So whenever Charlemagne the God and rapper T.I. are going in on Biden, you got to know it's pretty bad. Charlemagne the God is one of the co-hosts of Hot 97, one of the most popular talk shows on radio up in New York. He's the guy where when Joe Biden showed up on his show where he made the infamous, if you support Donald Trump, you ain't black. Basically, if you don't support me, you ain't black. He said that to Charlemagne the God, and T.I., rapper T.I., Tip Harris, and Charlemagne the God are basically talking about how racist Joe Biden is and how bad of a pick he is. And they literally said that Donald Trump has done more for black people than Joe Biden has. So I wanted to show a series of contradictions, and again, I'm going to call up customer service of this streaming platform I'm using because they definitely failed me during this broadcast. They just were not. It just was not doing what it's supposed to do. But that's okay, guys. You guys are growing with me. I'm putting myself out there, and I'm doing what I can to fight for my country, even if the tools that I'm using are still, not as perfect as they can be. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't done so, please like, share, and comment on this video. Please be sure to subscribe to all my social media channels. And this is also being broadcast across YouTube and across Facebook simultaneously. So I hope you guys have a great Saturday. Again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I was in the zone, and I'm a little bit bummed out that it cut out on me during that, but that's okay. It's going to get better and better as time goes on. So have a great Saturday, guys. I hope you had a blessed Thanksgiving week. And like I said, do not take advice. Do not take seriously the pastoral homilies or whatever that thing was that Joe Biden gave on Thanksgiving, whatever address that was. Do not listen to Catholics who are not allowed to receive Holy Communion. Do not take Catholics seriously who are in a state of excommunication from the church and are barred from receiving the sacraments because their beliefs are so hostile towards their own faith. He is a walking hypocrite, he is a heretic, and he is a blasphemer, and you should not take seriously anything that he says. So I'm glad I was able to be with you today, guys. This is the Bobby Hesley Show. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will see you next week. I hope you have a blessed weekend, and we will catch you soon. Bye-bye.